been a while. Been a while.
It's been a while. Hey, everybody, we're here for a new episode of RLG Cast Reviews. We're talking about Alien Covenant today. I'm here with Johnny Donuts 777, the man of donuts and the man of sevens.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a slot machine, it would also have 3 donuts as an option.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
And I think that would pay, was it 10 times pay?
we'll think about it.
Yeah.
We'll come to terms. You win at Tim Hortons Donuts, and they're just going
Mm-hmm.
to be shit.
And it's
Um,
disgusting. Their coffee's
anyways,
horrible.
Alien Romulus, tell us
Mm-hmm.
about it.
So it's really a bunch of kids that are persuaded to go to a Weyland-Yutani spacecraft to retrieve cryostasis chambers because they're looking to make some money and selling off whatever is inside.
You know what? This is. I feel like you were ready for this,
Mm-hmm.
which is not cool. Next time I'm just gonna do myself because you're not supposed to be ready.
Oh, okay.
um, yeah. So we'll do some spoiler-free talk here
Yeah.
for a bit in case you haven't seen it. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What is your general feelings?
It felt like something was missing.
Or so you're gonna go in the Putty route? Apparently, Putty hated this movie.
I didn't hate it. No, don't get me wrong. I didn't hate it at all. I actually thought this was one of the stronger like alien films. It just felt like I don't know, is there maybe because I'm older there's a disconnect with a young cast maybe?
No, there's something
Because they were
missing.
really young.
There's something missing. They picked, and surprisingly, because I think the youngest one of them, I don't know for sure,
Isabella Merced
and she's
Merced or
what, like,
whatever. 22?
yeah, and then like the rest of them are all
And
like
she
in
was
their
the
late
pregnant one.
20s. Yeah, and you want to know now, no spoilers. We'll
No,
talk
but I
about it
mean
later.
they talk about this early in the film.
So it's I found the cast to be fine in their roles. I thought
Yeah,
the acting was pretty good.
the acting was fine. The way it was shot was great.
Yeah,
Like the horror
yeah,
aspect. Too much red.
yeah, that's fair. It's the sets were great.
Yes.
The visuals were great. The CG
The
was
way they
good.
recreated the original style or the aesthetic of because this is supposed to take place between Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
So the way they recreated that
The
70s
CRT TVs and like stuff like
that
that.
aesthetic like that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
Okay, I'm never gonna remember this because my brain, even though I love Alien,
Mhm.
what's the they bring back a character, which that we're not gonna. This is not really spoilers because he's in
Mhm.
a huge chunk of the movie. As an AI generated
Yep.
AI generation.
Yeah. Do you
Is
need
he's
to know the original character's name?
Yeah, you can give it to me.
Yeah.
Um,
It was Ash.
Ash, there you go. 'Cause I was thinking David, but David is the other guy.
David
Um,
is Fassbender, and
yeah,
Bishop was the other guy
in part 2.
in Aliens. Yeah.
So anyways, he's like the what do you call them? They're like replicants,
Yeah.
basically.
That's why that's why there's that connection between Blade Runner and Alien.
Yeah. So and he comes back and the CGI on him is really bad. Like the
Yes.
deep
It
fake
was
on it is
it
really
looked
bad.
fake.
Like his
It
mouth looks like it's flat. Like the
so
blackness in it is
what
looks like
they
it's
did, if you're
flat.
not familiar, is they took Ian Holm's likeness. Ian Holm also played Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He's been in a bunch of others. You'll know him if you see him. But they recreated his likeness via AI, and that looked pretty bad. That was one of the points I took away from this film is
Yeah, and it's
because
weird because the rest of the CGI looks so good.
yeah,
Like so good. It's like kind of like throws you off.
yeah.
But yeah, so generally the movie looks good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think Callie Spenny or Kaylee Spenny, however you say it,
Kaylee Spaney, yeah.
and David Johnson were
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah,
Andy
they
is the
had a
best
great
character in
dynamic
this movie.
together. Sorry?
Andy's maybe one of the best characters in all
Mm-hmm.
of Alien, period.
Yeah, it was really good character. Yeah.
And he acts it so well as the character like evolves from like
Mm-hmm.
a messed up android that like slowly gets like corrected by being in the ship and
Mm-hmm.
getting the chips put in him from the Weyland-Yutani like stuff.
Yeah. We'll
And
talk
like
about that in the spoilers, but yeah.
we'll get more into that. But it's I thought the acting was well done.
Mm-hmm.
The big problem I had is character choices, which will open up more of that, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
But
And spoilers.
it's just like they make the dumbest choices, and the movie
Yeah.
for me kind of went from the first half is like great, like
Yeah.
great.
And then it
It's
kind of petered off.
it turned into like to me, which a lot of people disagreed with me, but then when I explained what I meant by that, people were like, "Oh, so it's like half of a really, really solid sci-fi horror drama kind of
Yeah.
thing, and then it turns into a teen horror movie where they're in a slasher movie and they're getting picked
That's
off one
exactly
by
what it felt.
one.
It felt like I Know What You Did Last
Yeah,
Summer or
and they're all
something.
making the dumbest possible decisions.
Hmm.
They could have just literally locked themselves in a room,
Yeah.
but they didn't.
We'll talk about that in the spoilers. There's one scene that really irks me, and
Yeah, I think which I don't want to talk about any of that right now, but
yeah.
it's like that's just like kind of where I lost points. Like this movie could have got rated a lot higher by me if it stayed. I still think it's up there as one of the better Alien movies
Hmm.
for sure.
It's still for me. I don't know. It's kind of see. I also, contrary to popular opinion, I really enjoyed Alien Resurrection.
You're not okay.
Right?
I really enjoy Alien 3.
Right, and that's not a popular opinion either.
No, I also think Alien Covenant is actually a good movie.
Hmm.
Um,
Prometheus was just okay.
I like Prometheus. If I were
Hmm.
gonna, if I, I'll give before I give you
You
my
know
score.
what? But what we'll do is ranking video coming up soon.
Nah, we just ranked it. We're
We
not
just
ranking
ranked
it
it.
again.
Okay.
You're Aliens, Prometheus, this movie, and Covenant, and then
Yeah.
closely behind, I would say, is Alien 3. Because I'm not counting cuts. If I do the producer's cut of Alien 3, I think it's better than Covenant, but I'm
Yeah.
not counting cuts. So
See, whereas me, I just switched 3 and Resurrection.
at Resurrection is not bad. I think every movie, including Alien versus Predator, is above a 6. They're all good enough
Yeah.
that you could easily watch them and have a good time with it.
Requiem was garbage.
Yeah, Requiem is like a 1 out of 10. It's like so bad that this is one of the best total franchises that exists.
Hmm.
And
Very
regardless,
consistent.
consistent. Um yeah, I thought just like it was visually well done. It has a lot of good Easter eggs. It has a lot of references. It's a little bit too close. There's parts that we'll talk about in spoilers. If you want to stay, that's up to you. I
Yeah.
mean, but I think the music was great. The atmosphere was really good. I think there were some nice horror elements throughout. I
Yeah.
don't think it was a scary movie, and I don't think that's a reason to not think something's good,
No.
Putty. Because that's why Putty says he doesn't like it. That was one of the reasons, because it's not
Really?
scary. And I'm
It's
like,
not supposed. Well, I mean, it is in a way, but like Alien was a horror,
but
whereas Aliens was just like your
an action
popcorn
movie.
action movie of the 80s. Yeah. Clearly,
It's
James Cameron.
yeah, and then the
Alien 3
third
was
movie
more
was like a hardcore
psychological.
sci-fi. It was like
Yeah.
hardcore sci-fi. And then part
And
4
and
was like a French movie.
which is Joss, believe it or not, Resurrection was Joss Whedon.
It was rewritten.
Yes.
But
But yeah, and Alien 3 was David Fincher, and it's a typical David Fincher movie.
yeah, it has a lot of psychological horror to it. It's very it's deep sci-fi. Like
Hmm.
it's like really hardcore.
Yeah. But
It's yeah, I mean very dystopian. And it's funny
and,
because like
and
the
it's the
Earth,
same director who did like the most recent remake of Evil Dead.
yeah, Fede Alvarez. He also
Yeah.
did Don't Breathe.
Yes, which were both great films.
Yeah. It's and like I said, it's not a bad movie. I just think it's missing something that could have made it special.
I think the story needed more meat. It was just a simple MacGuffin that they were after.
Yeah, but so was Alien.
True.
Alien was just we're on a boat. There's an
Yeah.
alien. You know,
But it's not that they're out specifically for that. They just happen to encounter this.
here's my take on that. So Alien was more it had a better understanding of its characters and the way that they interact with each other. It was their relationships were really strong, and like they're a
Yeah.
crew, they've been working together, they know what they're doing. And then Aliens is like there's a lot more fleshing out of characters. The characters
Yeah.
are way more fleshed out, so you care
Because
about the
they basically
characters.
send the Space Marines out to exterminate
Yeah.
this threat.
Here you get introduced to two people. You kind of care about them. Then you get
Mhm.
introduced to their friends who are there, and you don't give a shit about them. And then they're all
No.
kind of like randomly thrown away or put in other places for now until later, where
So
you
we are in spoiler talk?
we're not talking spoilers. I'm just
Okay.
saying.
But
They're
are we in
they're
spoiler talk? Because there's
no,
one. No, okay.
we won't. We'll go into it right after this. But they move people like around into
Hmm.
positions where it's like you forget about them and you're like, okay, why would I be like thinking about that?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge problem. What would you score this movie?
Um, 7-1.
Yeah, I'm a little higher. I was a lot higher and I came down. I'm a 7.6.
Okay.
Because I think it's at the end of the day, yeah, I do think it's good, but on top of that, it's highly entertaining. Like, and it's not that long.
And it's
It's
something I will go back and watch again.
Yeah, I feel like there's stuff to like look at and find in there. It's just a good solid
Yeah.
action horror sci-fi movie. All right, spoiler talk 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. So the thing that bothered me the most is when Navarro, that was the girl with the buzzed haircut,
Yeah.
with the face hugger installed in her.
Hmm.
They bring her to the ship and leave everybody behind. Why?
To have a reason to get rid of the ship.
But they don't get rid of the ship because it just loops around the Romulus and comes back in.
Yeah, I listen, I don't know. I found that entire scene very confusing just generally watching it.
Yeah.
The way that that specific scene is filmed, I was like, okay, I don't get what's happening. The ship's like spinning around on the outside of the thing, but then
Maybe it's in orbit. Maybe
It
it's in
perfectly
orbit.
docks back into the dock.
Yeah. So it went from so if people who are not familiar, there's the Legend of Rome, which is Romulus and Remus that founded Rome. So they landed on the Remus and it loops around to the Romulus.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuff.
Yeah. And this is where I took points away, is because like I don't understand the thinking behind what these people were doing. Like Tyler is Kaylee Speeney's ex-boyfriend, but he's now got Mercad's character pregnant. Like,
And they're cousins.
yes.
Um,
But I like the reprogramming of Andy. What's your prime directive? I have a new prime directive now, and it's like he's taken over by Wayland Mutani.
Andy carried this entire movie. I
Yeah.
do think that Speeney was a good hero.
Mm-hmm.
What's the actual character's name? Rain.
Rain.
Rain is like a solid character. It's in the same vein as Ripley, just obviously not as good.
Not as good, yeah. But
But
she even kind of had that Ripley look to her.
yeah, she does a solid job, and like the fact that she's so small makes it
Mm-hmm.
feel more imposing on her to like have to deal with everything that's happening.
Yeah.
It's just they gave it. I think there was too many aliens.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if it was just the one or two stalking them.
Yeah, like make it one, and then they finally kill that one, and then realize, oh shit, there's one more. You know,
Yeah.
like something like that. When there was all the aliens, where do you go if you do a sequel? Right?
Yeah.
Because supposedly they're in talks to do a sequel to this.
Okay.
That would take place, I think they said at like the same time as Aliens, but
Okay.
in a different,
Part of the
yeah.
universe. Well,
So
but I mean, that's the thing. These guys are in the movie, they're just grunts. They're not people that basically Rain's the character of Rain, she works for Wayland Mutani, and she had like what is it? She completed her work, but they doubled her workload or something like that. And that's why she needs to go to make the money to get out of to pay off her debt kind of thing.
she's they're doing this thing so that they can use the money to illegally flee
The
the
planet.
sector or whatever. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they can go to the planet where they want to go. That's like a utopia planet.
Right. But what gets me is they're not going to go searching for them because these people are nobodies
No, they're not. And that's the thing, right? So now she's stuck
in
in this
stasis.
situation. But this is the thing, right? That ending scene is exactly Alien. She puts on the spacesuit. She fights in her underwear.
Hmm.
She gets into the stasis pod. It's like it was too spot on. Like it's
They even use the line from Alien that says, "Get away from her, you bitch."
yeah, exactly.
Like
It's
that think that was a bit much.
they used the line
Hmm.
from Aliens, which has
Yes.
not happened yet. You
No,
referenced the movie that has not
it
happened.
happened in that timeline.
Um,
So I think maybe she just crash lands on Earth. But then that's the same story as Ripley.
Yeah, so I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I think she's gonna end up like somewhere random. Like,
Unless she goes to the planet where the Prometheus happened, the Architect's planet.
no, I think she's gonna end up getting picked up. Like it's gonna say like 20 years later, and like a ship flying by is gonna see her ship like powered off with only the stasis
Emergency.
cryostasis thing,
Mm.
and then they're gonna do something with that. And like Andy's not gonna work properly, so he can't tell them that beware, there's an alien on board this whole time. There's been an alien.
Okay.
Maybe Andy is in the ship with her.
Right. And he's sending out the distress signal.
There's distress signal, but then the alien finally kills Andy. So that when they come on, they're like trying to see what if they can get information out of Andy because they can't take her out of cryosleep because she could die or something. So
Mm.
there's like a whole like first half of the movie where they don't know what to do with her until they open it and she's like, "There's a fucking alien." Anyways,
Yeah,
we don't need to.
because that's the thing too. Like there was the movie, there's a video game. I don't know if anybody's played it, but there was Alien Isolation, which takes place between uh which basically takes place between Alien and Romulus, and it's Ripley's daughter. And that's the reason why they didn't do this as Ripley's daughter. I know a lot of people were thinking that this was supposed to be Ripley's daughter, but that game technically is canon.
And in Aliens,
Hmm.
is Ripley's daughter still alive?
No, she's long dead.
Isn't it only 30 years later?
Right? Or she's like 80 or something like that. She's old.
Yeah, it's like they pulled like a Interstellar. I mean, well, Interstellar pulled like an Aliens, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, he meets her again and she's like so old.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was okay.
Well, it was a solid movie.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
fun.
there's the plot holes, right? I think that
If we're gonna nitpick, we will like. I mean, we're just
we have
doing
to,
it.
right? I
Yeah.
was gonna go way higher than that for my score. Like, if you're asking me, Alien is like a 9. Aliens is like a high 8.
Okay.
So, and I would say Prometheus is like a high 7, like a 7, 8, something like that. So I was like, I was gonna go higher than that. I was gonna drop this somewhere into like the a mid 8s, and then
Oh,
it
really?
just
That high?
slowly kind of.
Better than Wolverine and Deadpool, eh?
This movie, I think this movie is better than Wolverine and Deadpool. What did I
I'm
give
just
Wolverine and Deadpool? 7.5?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, this is already better. I think this is a far well better put together movie than Wolverine versus Deadpool. People are blind. It's not a bad movie. I really enjoyed Alien or Wolverine versus Deadpool, but it's not a well put together film. At
Yeah,
least Aliens has the remnants of a well put together film that
yeah.
kind of just slowly deteriorates towards the end and it turns into this weird horror movie
It
where
turns into
everyone
what
gets
I know what you did
separated.
last summer. Yeah,
People got killed off way too fast. The first
yeah.
half of the movie felt like it was taking way too long to get anywhere, and then all of a sudden everyone was dead, and you're like, okay, what the
Everyone's
fuck
dead
is
by like
happening?
then everyone's dead at the halfway point, and then it's just Andy and
And the
Rain fighting for
fact
their
that
lives.
you have a synth, whatever they're called,
Hmm.
like an
Replicant, whatever.
android,
Yeah.
a replicant on the ship telling you don't do this, and then they put the chip into the other one and he says don't do
Do
this,
this.
and the stupid dumb British guy's like, oh, he made me go do what he wants to do, yeah. And you're like, why are we listening to this